going on, people? This is Shok, and you guys are getting a video today. Some people, I just randomly live streamed last night on my PS4, streaming Shadow of Mordor, and people were like, "Oh, you should totally put up a video tomorrow." Decided to go ahead and do it. Really, guys, I've been working 5 days a week, like for a very long time now. I'll pretty much work 8 to 10-hour shifts, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Fridays and Saturdays, and then Thursdays I kind of reserve to Smash. That's when I go to the weekly tourney and stuff like that, and I train and stuff like that. And then of course Sundays, dedicate to church. So a lot of times it can be really hard for me to dedicate time to extra things, such as doing videos. I mean, if I'm not at church, if I'm not at the tourney, or if I'm not at work or whatever, I'm pretty much playing video games because, I pretty much have to use that time to play video games, or else I'm not going to find any other, kind of time. So, I've just been playing games. I've just been gaming. I've been playing Shadow of Mordor. I've been playing, of course I've been playing Smash. I've been playing, Monster Hunter 4 that just came out. I haven't been on it recently, but, a while ago I was pretty heavy on Final Fantasy 14. But there's a couple things I want to talk about. I was going to go ahead and do multiple videos today, but I think these things are kind of related, so I think I kind of all put them into one video. But I want to talk about, the whole, of course, the Nintendo, situation and their stubbornness, the whole order debacle going on, and I want to talk about, the movement, and stuff like that. And this all kind of comes in, all together. I want to talk about, how people are consistently talking about how, these PS4 games keep underperforming. Notice I didn't say just coming out crap or flop. I'm using the word underperforming because they have not been living up to the hype, regardless of whether you like the game or not. They have not lived up to the hype in a general sense. I want to talk about all of that because all of it is kind of related. So we all know what the deal is with the order. 1886. It came out, got a 65 on Metacritic. And a lot of people, I think they get caught up in scores too much, and I don't mean that in the way that you would think. I mean, I think a lot of people say, they see the 65 and they're bullshit. But what you guys gotta realize is that there are reasons behind the scores. You see what I'm saying? It didn't get that score for no reason. Now, do I agree with that score? Despite the fact that I've not played the game, based off what I've seen and heard, I don't agree with that score. I don't think the game is a 65 based off what I've seen and heard. You see what I mean? Because if you go to the list of the reviews, right, there's some reviewers who gave the order a 20 and 40, and 50, stuff like that. Those are scores that are for games that straight up don't work. You see what I'm saying? Because based off what I read from these same reviews, the order is it's a polished game, right? It's not buggy, it's not glitchy. The animations aren't all, twitchy and stuff like that. You're right. The characters aren't twerking all over the place. It's a polished game. See what I'm saying? The controls work, right? So there's nothing fundamentally wrong with it, from a gameplay standpoint. So it definitely doesn't deserve no 20s and 50s and stuff like that. And that's why I say I don't agree with the 65 average based on what I've seen and heard. But like I said, I think a lot of people just look at the number and they think that when people bring up the Metacritic average, they're just talking about the number. No, there are reasonings behind the numbers. It's what you guys got to keep in mind when we're talking about these review averages. Now, is the Metacritic average an end-all be-all? No, but they are good indicators of what is either good or what is bad about a game, and people need to realize that. A lot of people are like, people need to stop caring about Metacritic scores. They don't matter. Stop. They do matter to a certain extent. Like I said, they're not the end-all be-all, but they are good indicators of what you can expect from a game. If I'm the kind of gamer where I want to go back and have a lot of replay value, go, complete things, finish things, I like being there multiple times or whatever, and then a reviewer says, oh, not even a reviewer, most reviewers say this game has no replay value, obviously I'm really not going to want to spend $60 on that game. Oh, and by the way, I do plan on buying that game myself when it's $20. I'm not going to drop $60 for a game. I'm going to be in 6, 7 hours, and that's pretty much it, right? So I'm going to wait till it's 20 bucks, which probably might be a while, and then I'll scoop the game up. Because like I said, I don't think it's a bad game at all. I do think it's flawed. Like I said, I read the reviews. They said it's pretty much too much cutscenes and not enough actual gameplay, stuff like that, yada yada. But I'm not going to get into all that. But I do plan on purchasing the game when it becomes cheaper. But I want to talk about I talked about the order to kind of just wrap up what's kind of been happening with the PS4 in general, because a lot of people have been talking about, you know, how every, you know, PS4 exclusive come out, it's just kind of like flop, 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 flop. You know, that's what people have been saying. Which, you know, in a sense is it's kind of true. And not even looking at the Metacritic averages, like, forget that. The fans themselves have been, a lot of the fans themselves have been underwhelmed with these games, right? Like, a lot of people like the first, you know, two Infamous is, you know, better than Second Son or whatever, or, you know, Killzone 2 was better than Shadowfall, which that is for sure. Like, that's just a for sure thing. You know, Drive Club came out, that wasn't as amazing as people, you know, wanted it to be. And, you know, people are like, you know, all these, you know, low quality, not low quality products, but all these under-delivered, you know, overhyped games, and the PS4 is sitting at 20 million. And that is crazy if you think about it. And when I heard, you know, specifically like Trey, when he said that, I thought to myself, wow, they're not even delivering with these games and they're still at 20 million. So what does that say about Nintendo with the Wii U, right? When they have, you know, quality game after quality game after quality game that, you know, lives up to the hype. Like, if a Zelda game is coming, we know that Zelda game is going to be good, right? No questions asked. There's no way that Zelda game is going to get a 70 or whatever, right? If a Smash game is coming out, we know it's going to be good, you know, stuff like that. Yada, yada, yada. The Wii U has had a lot of great games come out, like Tropical Freeze, you know, 3D World, you know, Mario Kart 8, Bayonetta, Smash, you know, whatever. And it's still sitting at just 9 million. So, like, I find it funny how, you know, Nintendo fans will talk about, you know, how the PS4 is essentially what they say is the PS4 has sold 20 million without a single must-have exclusive, which I'm inclined to agree with. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying their point is wrong, but I'm just saying it's just funny to think about that and then think about the Wii U, so a system that has consistently AAA or high-quality exclusives coming out constantly, and it's still at 9 million. That just goes to show just how badly Nintendo is fucking up. That should tell you something. The fact that the PS4 can sell 20 million without a single, like, big bang exclusive, the Wii U has multiple ones, and it's less than half the sales of the PS4. That goes to show you just how badly Nintendo is and has messed up with this system. And if that doesn't show that you need to get on them about all this stuff, then I don't know what will. The fact that Sony and Microsoft can fail, and still drastically outsell the Wii U, that shows you, and I know I'm repeating myself, but it just shows you just how bad they've been going about this. Which goes into this next thing. You see how everything's kind of transitioned about the whole, you know, fans speaking up? Because we, like I said before, I don't think Nintendo can break out of this thing by themselves. I honestly think it's going to be up to us because they're too stubborn, and while they may look around a couple times to see what's going on, they don't necessarily pay too much attention to it. They don't take heed. They don't really mind it too much. You see what I'm saying? Of course, there's exceptions to that. There's exceptions to everything, but in the grand scheme of things, that's just how they are. But like I said, I don't think they're going to break out of this mindset, this mode, this mentality that they have. I don't think they're going to do it themselves. I think it's up to us, the fans, to spur them and get them into the right direction. And, you know, shout outs to Active Life Gamer, who's been trying to do, you know, a movement. He's pretty much been, you know, picking up my slack while I've been gone. He's been doing this hashtag We Have a Voice movement, which is specifically tackling the problem of voice chat. Of course, he kind of, you know, brought it up. It was kind of spurred on by Splatoon, but it's not, you know, limited to Splatoon. It's not about Splatoon. That's just, you know, the most recent thing that kind of spurred him to, you know, kind of do this thing. So, you know, shout outs to him. He's been pretty much doing exactly what I was trying to do with the movie. You know, he's been hitting up the social media sites, you know, that Nintendo's on, you know, having fans tell him, you know, hey, we want this, we would like this, we need this for our games, you know, yada yada. That's what he's been doing. So I will link his channel down below in the description. If you guys just go to the video list, you'll see his We Have a Voice, you know, videos and stuff like that on there. You can watch them in order. So that way you guys know what he's been doing. You guys know I've been MIA, so I really haven't been able to participate in that. But I am going to try to, you know, get on board with that as well. And also, like I said, I'm not done. I definitely will be back on here doing the exact same thing I was doing before I left. We gotta spur Nintendo in the ass. We gotta get them in the right direction because they are not going to change on their own. They're not. For those of you who are still just, you know, putting the shield up, why? Put the shield down, be able to step back, analyze the situation, understand what is wrong with it, and say something about it. I don't know why some of you are so reluctant to, you know, you don't want to raise a pitchfork to, you know, a corporation, whatever. You're not going to die. You're not going to kill them. They're not going to hate you and ban you from buying their products, right? You literally have nothing to lose by complaining. So just go ahead and do it. Like, I know Nintendo gets a lot of flack for things that they shouldn't get flack for, but they also have a lot of things that they should get flack for. I dragged this video on long enough. Y'all, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. Peace.